Welcome to Leadership and Loyalty Tips for Executives, part of the Full Monty Leadership Series. I'm your host, Dov Barron, founder of Full Monty Leadership. I want to thank you for joining us. If you're a new listener to the show, thank you for joining us. And if you're a regular listener, big thank you to you because you're the ones who keeps us at the top with over 1.5 million downloads, making us number one in the Fortune 500 category, human resources, consistently at the top in leadership, in business, and now in family business as well. So thank you for sharing the show with everybody you know. Remember, as always, if you go over to iTunes and rate and review the show, that keeps us relevant. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, let's get into today's leadership and loyalty tip. It seems like business for most of us is about the nuts and bolts of things. We try to think about business as being nuts and bolts. We spend time, we spend money, we spend effort trying to break down processes into their basic and hopefully repeatable nuts and bolts. We design and then play out these processes, hoping that we'll get greater efficiency, that we'll have greater productivity, and yet all the time discovering that we have less and less engagement. The challenge is, when it comes to people, there's no one size fits all. People are they're the basics of your business. No matter how advanced your technology is, no matter how on the web you are and how hands-off you seem to be, there's a touch point at some place that is people. And the challenge is, as I said, when it comes to people, there's not one size fits all, and people are polarized in their relationships. What that means is that that people love and hate. We're incredibly simple, and yet we're incredibly complex. And so when you look at your people, you've got to remember this, that you have your mission, if you will, in working with your people in order to be a CRO, to be a chief relationship officer, and really engaging with your people and getting the very best out of them, requires you to find out about them. And moreover, to find out about the complexities of them, find out what it means to be them. You know, it's our awareness that makes us want to understand. It's our own awareness that makes us want to understand people. However, we can become very frustrated very quickly with that because our challenge is that our awareness is our bias. And so the more we try to make sense of people, the more we default to our version of normal. And we see everything else as complex or weird. I'll give you an example. Recognition. Recognition is very simple, meaning that most people, if not all people, need some form of recognition. We all need to know that we are seen, that we matter, that what we did counted, that you appreciated it. You know, we need recognition. That's the simplicity of it. The complexity of it is the nuances of the delivery. How you actually deliver that recognition to an individual will completely and totally determine the level of engagement you have, the ability for them to really be at their best in working for you. Think about somebody working for you who absolutely loves sports, and they work side by side with another person. And the person they're working side by side with is somebody who really dislikes sports, but loves art, loves the theater. And these two people are working side by side, and they've done great work together, and you're really happy with them. And you see that the finals for some big game is coming up, and you get them, you know, the best seats in the house, whether that's down on the floor, wherever it may be. But these are the best seats you could possibly have. And you give them both a pair of tickets, and you beam in with excitement. You're really happy to tell them that, you're proud of them. They did a great job. And here, I want you to know how much I appreciate this. I got you these. The sports fan is delighted. The sports fan is ecstatic. Thank you. This is so wonderful. Meanwhile, the person who doesn't care about sports, the person who loves art, is thinking, you really don't care about me. The simplicity is they both needed the recognition. The complexity is the nuance of the delivery. And the nuance of the delivery requires you to know your people. You see, your organization is a living, breathing organism. Moreover, it is a symbiotic organism. What it means is that all the parts equal more than all the parts. Each piece comes together and creates something that is better and bigger than. And this is why it is vitally important for you not only to be a CRO, meaning a Chief Relationship Officer for the people that you have, but to be a Chief Relationship Officer for the people who are coming in. It's imperative that you ask the kinds of questions coming in that will reveal who people are. Because first of all, you do want to find out who they are so that you can meet their needs in the way that will matter to them. And also so they'll meet the needs that you have as an employer. But also so that you can see something. Now, here's my leadership tip in this. Write this down. This is vitally important. What people do is what people do. You see, if you think about anybody that you know, you pick somebody you know, and think about an idiosyncrasy, something about them. So I'll pick me, because that's easy. My wife sends a list to people when we're going to their house for dinner. And these are what she calls my undesirable list, meaning things that I don't eat or would prefer not to eat. Now, you could say that's Dov and that's his idiosyncrasy and that's, just his thing. It's what he doesn't eat, what he does, what he doesn't want. That is true. But now take that microcosm as a macrocosm and say, okay, how does this demonstrate who Dov is? Well, if I was finding that out about somebody else, if I was the person receiving that list would tell me a lot of things about this person coming in. That they had this undesirable list will tell me that this is probably a person who's got very strong boundaries. This is a person who knows what it is that they want. They don't flip-flop. They're very clear and focused on what their outcomes are, what it is that they're doing, what it is that takes it for them to have a good time so that they're not stressed about things. I would know that coming in if somebody had delivered that kind of information. It's a microcosm of the macrocosm of who I am and how I operate in my world. It is vital for you to understand, again, your organization is a living, breathing organism, but it's a symbiotic organism, meaning all the parts come together. And if you don't sort out who those people are coming in, when they come in, they can pollute your entire culture. And you know this as well as I do, that every employee that you've had problems with, that you personally hired, you had an intuition. You had something within you. Some light went on, some bell went off, some feeling inside of you said this, something a bit off, but, and then you went with the but. I know I've done it myself. Invariably, I've done exactly the same thing and then gone, oh, I just knew. We have to pay attention to this. This is what it means to be a chief relationship officer. We have to put relationship at the top of the list and understanding that we, no matter how, as I said before, no matter how complex and technical we seem to be, the touch point is people. Your organization is a reflection of the people at every possible level. You need to be a chief relationship officer. You have to create vast awareness of the people you work with. And remember that there is no one size fits all when it comes to people. There is simplicity and complexity in that you could put a simple label on it, as the example I gave, recognition, but the complexity is the nuance of delivery. You have to care enough about not only the potential employee or the employees that you have, but about your organization to be willing to find out those nuances, to find out the complexity of that person. When you do that, that's when you create fierce loyalty inside of your organization. So, thank you for joining us for this particular tip. If you're truly serious about embracing the kind of positive disruption that builds a culture that has fiercely loyal employees, who not only lead but become evangelical about your organization while generating 10x engagement and productivity, reach out to me through fullmontyleadership.com. That's www.fullmontyleadership.com. I want to thank you for joining us here on this episode. Until next time, stay curious, my friend. Stay curious.